So I am Goawdout. Welcome to our second video about Peet's adventures so far. In our previous video, Peet and Yxie and Eldin made their way into Swanford. You can find links below if you want to view the first part first. I believe that we are calling it Peet's Path, but we sometimes change our mind or just get confused. Anyway, the links below will probably give some clues. Anywho, none of what we write is for sure anyway. We are only in the process of building these stories, so the trick is to not get too worked up when we don't do things the right way. That is not what we are about. For the most part, we are brainstorming ideas, so if you have any ideas, we would love for you to share.
Hello. And welcome to our latest video. So we are Wild Art Fly Free and we are all about creativity. I am very happy that you could join us. We are building a world out of stories and we could really use your help. At least, we would really appreciate your feedback. As you watch this video, or some of our other videos, you might come to realize that we don't exactly know what we are doing. No, really, it's okay to mention it. We talk about that all the time. We are building a YouTube channel and none of us know anything about building a YouTube channel. So well, this can be stressful. One of the tricks to learning how to do something new is to have fun. So, that's one of our core strategies to building a world out of stories and a YouTube channel. We play. We work to keep it fun. We brainstorm story ideas and then we try to fit them together to make better stories.
Okay. In our last video, we followed Peet's adventure from the port city of Goawdout to the town of Swanford. In Swanford, the cult called the Harlequin had a job for Peet. We think that Peet will regret doing this job, but how much is it going to bother him?
Eventually, Peet, Eldin, and Yxie make it to Swanford in time for the appointed quest for the Harlequin, and it turns out the Harlequin cult wanted all of Swanford's residents to run away to leave Swanford on a certain day, and they had decided that fear was probably their best tool for emptying out a town. They hired Peet to help scare away the people of Swanford. Peet, thinking about the challenge rather than the morality of emptying out a town in that way, did his job. Peet was strongly motivated by the reward of a calendar, a book. The Goawdout is a book, which is a calendar, but it is a calendar, a lunar calendar that requires some interpretation, so it was always a bit of a puzzle and a challenge. So you have to be smart to be able to use the Goawdout book, but now Peet has it, and if he can learn how to use it, it will be quite a benefit, because most of the magic in our world of Opsapuduk comes from moons, so anticipating important lunar events really helps, As it is, most people know some of the lunar events, but not accurately and not always consistently. So anyway, Peet wants the Goawdout book calendar, and so he helps the Halican cult scare everybody, and it seems they use the idea of dragons to scare people, which just makes sense. And just about everybody in Swanford leaves, although Peet, Yixie, and Eldon stay. They are not afraid of dragons because they know it's a trick. And Peet really wants to see if this works, and he's quite surprised when it does work. We have links below to see some of the videos about that sort of thing. Anyway, part of the Halican's strategy involves another magical entity where Peeks is a master at manipulating people. So is the MiGo, another magical entity, but the MiGo uses fear to manipulate people. Peeks uses, well, things more associated with marketing that probably you would think would be more palatable and morally acceptable. But the MiGo makes everybody afraid, and it eventually makes Peet afraid, and perhaps that is part of why he went along with the whole idea, partly through fear. But the quest was successful, so Peet does get the Goawdout. And then in Swanford, another character that stayed in Swanford is Chugskid, a young dwarf politician, and he goes to meet up with the MiGo. At that time also Peeks goes to help Chugskid scare away or deal with the MiGo, which is a scary thing. But then some of Chugskid's friends, who are miners, bring out iron and steel tools. Iron and steel mess with the magic in our world, and both MiGo and Peeks disappear. So with the coming of the miners, and steel and iron are illegal on Apsapuduk because magical beings do not like iron and steel. So it turns out these dwarf miners are breaking the law, and Chugskid and that group go west to avoid confrontations with magical people for different reasons, mostly because we're sending everybody west, but for different reasons that we have to think about. Peet, Eldon, and Yixie also go west, and they are chasing after a mythical magical seed from a mythical magical huge trees called the Helolenia Galad. These are trees that are far too large to be even possible on our world, so they are mythical, and they are real enough to create this mythical seed. Anyway, the stories are that the seed has been locked in a castle. It has some magical properties which are very powerful but very strange and maybe a little bit scary. We'll have to think about that. Anyway, Peet, Yixie, and Eldon are traveling west, as are many of our characters, but they are going to find a castle. We have started building the castle that has been around for centuries. So you can find links to that below. And so if you have any ideas about Peet's history, any questions, any thoughts, please leave them below in the comments. And we'll come back to this story many times. So feel free to, put in your ideas and see if they go anywhere.
Okay. In an earlier video, we followed Peet, Eldin and Yxi as they adventured from Goawdout to Swanford. Now, Peet has helped to scare the people of Swanford away so that he could gain a book. So in this video Peet, Eldin and Yxi are traveling west. And now, we have a couple of other videos that relate directly to this adventure. In one of the videos we ask, what sort of goals does Peet have? Goals are important to stories. And, to keep our stories simple, we ask, what is Peet's most important goal? Please look for the link in the description. Also, we have a video that asks, what sort of chaos can we put in the way of our heroes? We like to play with ideas, so chaos often forms as idea puzzles. So now, why don't you find the video in the links and help us build a better story for Peet? And, to help us build a bigger community, so that we can have even more ideas. Please give us a like and be sure to subscribe. That way the algorithm will know to send you the right thumbnails. And thanks.